I'm Corbett Wall with DVAuction, here with your feeder flash for Friday, November the 8th, brought to you in part by Norfenacol by Norbrook. Get to the bottom of BRD fast. Norfenacol is the bioequivalent of Nuflor, but it's not nearly as thick and a lot easier to use. It reaches therapeutic blood levels in the lungs within 30 minutes of being given. For more information, go to norbrook.com. Also, Unionville Livestock Market in north central Missouri and Creston Livestock Market in south central Iowa. Creston had a big special on Wednesday. They had a great sale there. And their next big special is coming up on November the 20th. Be all vaccinated calves and yearling special there. If you're interested in that, get a hold of Cody Fry there at Creston Livestock Market. Just south of their Unionville Livestock Market. They've got a regular sale here on the 12th, and then they're going to have a special calf and yearling sale on the 19th, and then their pre-Thanksgiving special that they always have on the 26th. Get a hold of Kurt and Heather Sport Leader if you're interested in consigning to that sale. The buzz is starting to fade, and you guys know what I mean. We had the election on Tuesday night. Man, everything's been gangbusters and everybody's been so excited since then. But your markets are starting to ease back into their normalcy. We did see the stock market up another 44 points, but that was nothing like what it was up on Wednesday. But also new records reached for the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. The Fed did lower interest rates again, 25 basis points there, but we're not expecting a big change of that on our mortgages and things like that. But you know, things are looking pretty good. The board was still mostly higher on Thursday, but showed some signs of maybe fading a little bit. The only traded contract that was lower was your spot November feeder cattle, and it was only a nickel lower, but just not as wild as it was there on Wednesday. But cash feeders kind of flattened out a little bit. Didn't see any big prices there, and in fact your real-time index come off almost a $50 based on an 800-pound cash auction steer there, so it faded a little bit. We saw heifer or calves sell really well, mostly in your hard red winter wheat regions where they were tested. Of course, most of those areas have been so wet that they haven't had a very good run, but they had a pretty good run in Pratt, and your light calves were much higher. I mentioned that I expect to see those light calves selling quite a bit higher when we start to see more of them, when people can get them into the sales here, because they got so much of that great rain down in the southern plains there, and so that's going to bring on a lot of demand for lightweight calves. But your cash fats are struggling, and I don't know why your feedlots are giving up on this fed cattle market that we worked for 7 weeks to get up there to pretty respectable levels. We've already seen a few guys, weak sisters, sell out their fat cattle when nobody else was selling. On a direct basis, they've sold a little bit lower. We saw a little bit more of that Thursday, but we haven't seen the bulk of sales yet. And just because we've had pretty decent movement the last few weeks, these packers still have to buy cattle, and they still need to buy some on the open cash negotiated market. They've got to establish something to do all those formula trades off of. They need to have some kind of a basis there, a weighted average. On Wednesday, the Fed Cattle Exchange through Central Stockyards, they had a lot of fed cattle offered there on the online platform, and they had bids from 185 all the way up to 188.50 on commodity cattle in the southern plains, and everybody passed it. But so you got people that are bailing out cheaper than that, and not a lot, but just a deal here and a deal there, and pretty soon those deals add up, and then everybody else has to follow suit. You got to stay hooked if you're going to sell those cattle in a negotiated manner there, and it's going to get reported cash. Otherwise, people get to thinking that is the market there. But we'll see what happens on Friday. We really don't know what the market is yet. We won't be able to tell you until we come back for our Monday morning visit there. But let's talk about your board on Thursday. December live cattle futures up 42 cents at 185.82. February was up 70 at 187.42. Your back months on live cattle were all higher, from 45 cents to $1.20 higher. November feeder cattle, I mentioned earlier, was down a nickel at 247.65. January feeders were up 30 cents at 244.32. And your back months on feeders up 30 cents to up 85, but just didn't really have the charge that we'd seen the day before. December corn up 1 1/4 cent a bushel at 425 3/4, but it's been coming up all along. January beans up 22 1/2 at 1026 1/4 after normal trading there. And your hard red winter wheat for December down 5 cents at 569. Now your fat cattle trade direct basis out of your 5 area feeding region, and I've been telling you about that, and we've just been struggling with that. We have a few people here selling out too cheap and a few people there doing the same. But in Iowa, they sold 600 head on Thursday at 188. Now this is not one of those Thursdays where we think they did a lot of trading after 2 o'clock deadline to turn that information in. Likely we won't start seeing the gates really swing until sometime here on Friday. Nebraska sold 1,300 from 186 to 187, and that's going to be some lower, $2 to $3 lower actually. And your dress sales from 294 to 295. Why somebody does that, I don't know. I don't know why they would do it. And then maybe they're getting a little bit under the table from the packers that want that to be reported. Because these wholesale beef prices have been going down a little bit, and they want to hold their margin on that, but I just don't understand. Now Kansas sold 100 head, probably shouldn't even talk about them. It was a mixed pen, steers and heifers. That is not usually the market. It's just probably some oddball cattle, but they had them reported, the packer did, to be well up into the choice grade at 184. Now why would anybody take 184 when just the day before the Fed Cattle Exchange was passing packer bids of 185 to 188.50, and then the board was up a little bit more on Thursday? Just does not make sense to me. There's always some shady business going on there. I don't know why more people don't participate in the Fed Cattle Exchange, at least trying to be part of the fix instead of the problem all the time. But we did have a fat cattle auction in Sheldon, Iowa. Had about 500 head of slaughter cattle there. Compared to 2 weeks ago, the market was steady to $2 higher, with conventional fat steers and heifers from 183 to 190.75. Program cattle, non-implanted or drug-free, from 185 to 188.50. Similar to our other auctions in the Northern Plains and Midwest. Just not much of a premium for those. When the market gets up there, they don't get nearly as particular. We did have some fat Holsteins to sell from 170 to 172 in Sheldon. Box beef cutout values were terrible. Now we saw everything was pretty much up on Wednesday except box beef cutout values, and now Thursday they've dropped even more. Now I don't know if most of your wholesale buying was done for the holidays over the last 2 or 3 weeks, and now we've got a hole here or what, but we have lost a ton of ground, especially on choice. And your choice cuts on Thursday afternoon were down 613, ouch, at 309.46. Selects were down 348, and they've been down, and they never did really rally as much as the choice did, but at 279.72, so pretty rough day on your wholesale beef market. Your slaughter, of course, getting aggressive. They're making money on that, and they need to get some product put back in those coolers. Your cattle slaughter estimated through the first 4 days of the week, 494,000. That's 4,000 more than the same period a week ago, and just 4,000 less than the same week a year ago, which is much better than what we've been doing here for the last several months. Your actual slaughter information come back for the week ending October the 26th, and had your average stress steer carcass weight at 957 pounds, which is gigantic still, but it's 3 pounds less than the same report a week ago. Talk about what else is going on. We're finishing up our 10-year anniversary week. I promise to keep doing these feeder flash reports as long as I can here, but glad that so many follow them, and we've got a lot of people that rely on this information, and we feel like we're family, and you guys know a lot more about me than I know about you, but I love meeting you when I get out and about. I'm going to be at the Kansas Cattlemen's Association convention in Manhattan, Kansas on Saturday. I think the convention is Friday and Saturday. If you guys are in the area and are interested in doing that, it is a good meeting. It's a good meeting. They have a good trade show there. A lot of wholesome people. It's not full of suits or anything like that. It is there's real producers there, and they come from all around Kansas and even some from neighboring states there. But I've been to that meeting several times, and last year was probably the best because it had the best turnout, and I'm hoping to have another good turnout this time. We all went to Aggieville as a group, and we had an absolute blast together a year ago, so I'm looking forward to that on Saturday evening. But we've got the 10-year anniversary contest still going on. Now I'm going to give you the winner for Thursday. Thursday was the Fair Piece Day, and the winner is going to get $300 gift certificate to Cavender's plus the Sale Barn swag bag. And the winner for the Thursday contest is Captain Tom Townsend, U.S. Army Field Artillery guy from Spearfish, South Dakota. And so we're proud that he was the one that was the random draw there. So I'm glad to have him. I hope he enjoys those prizes there. And now we've got the last day of the contest, and then maybe my inbox can kind of get whittled down a little bit where I can see what I need to see, because we've had a lot of people participating in this. But for the 10-year anniversary contest here for Friday, it is sponsored by Norbrook, and you're going to get a lot of it's going to be a swag bag, just Norbrook stuff. Plus, you're going to get the Sale Barn swag bag from all of our participating sale barns for the 10-year anniversary, which includes Creston, Iowa, Unionville, Missouri, Olean, Missouri, Pruitt's Mid-State Stockyards there down south, Santa Teresa, New Mexico, Joplin Regional Stockyards, Crawford, Nebraska, St. Ann, South Dakota, Flint Hills Stockyards there in Kansas, Northeast Georgia Livestock, Ogallala, Nebraska, Volunteer Stockyards in Tennessee, and F&T Livestock Market in Northeast Missouri. You're going to get a swag bag full of stuff from them, but the Norbrook stuff is really nice. I've received some of that stuff, and they've got neat shirts. They've got cups, they've got caps, they've got this, they've got that. They've been doing a good job. They got some really cool stuff there. But for Norbrook, the question is, and all you have to do is answer this question, get the correct answer, and send your name and address to feederflash at nationalbeefwire.com. Feederflash at nationalbeefwire.com. That's the email address that you email the correct answer to. And the question is this time, what common ailments in cattle is norfenacol approved for treating? All right, norfenacol, that's one of the big products that Norbrook has. Of course, they have generic products, but what common ailments in cattle does norfenacol approved for treating there? And that's through Norbrook. So check that out. Give us our answer. Maybe you'll be the winner for the last day of the 10-year anniversary of Feeder Flash contest there. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market. Your real-time index on DVAuction, based on an 800-pound cash auction steer up through your middle 12 states at the end of Thursday's trading, sitting at 249.51. That was down 48 cents. And your latest CME cash feeder cattle index very near that at 249.92. Let's talk about your big sales on Thursday. Winter Livestock in Pratt, Kansas had about as good a run as anybody did. being as wet as it was all around, but 2,300 head in Pratt, Kansas. Market reporter there said that the 4 to 650 pound calves were 8 to 20 bucks higher. Now that's all got to be from newfound wheat grazing demand there, guys, because they got a lot of moisture there too. The heavier feeder cattle were not well tested and didn't see a lot of movement in the market there. But check out one impressive quote from Pratt. 68 steers weighed 641 and bring 305. Wow, I would say that's a bunch higher. Of course, they called them a bunch higher there, so that was good. How about farmers and ranchers livestock in Salina, Kansas, just straight north of there? About 2,000 head for them. They called the steers 3 to 5 bucks higher, and the ballers selling a little bit better. Not as much discount on the ballers. Of course, they've been cold up there, and a lot of those cattle have been through it, kind of, and so they sold just back of the wean cattle or the lighter weight yearlings. But the discounts are getting not as severe that far up into the plains, because they've had several days of cold weather, early mornings that were cold, so a lot of those airborne illnesses have been wiped out up there. Man, we cannot wait for more of that to happen. Did see that we had pretty good snow in northeastern New Mexico, where I grew up in Clayton, New Mexico. I've got some friends that I keep track of on social media, and they had a pretty good snow there. And then talked to another buddy of mine that lives in Hartley, Texas, and he said the road was closed between Delhart up to Texline, so he couldn't go that way into the state of New Mexico because the road was closed. So must have been pretty slick right there. And man, I hate to see that kind of stuff already happening, even though it's getting to be that time of year. Let's talk about your National Beef Wire stick out sale of the day. It was Stockman's Livestock Exchange, the East Barn in Dickinson, North Dakota. They had 2,900 head. The market was kind of uneven there, but look at this automated market report there. You see your best tested weights. I'm about 418 head of the 4-weight steer calves. They averaged 453 with a weighted average price on all of them of $343.54. 810 head of the 5-weight steer calves in Dickinson averaged 560 pounds at $304.85. 426 head of 6-weight steer calves, Dickinson, North Dakota, average weight 639, weighted average price on all of them $282.27. Couple of well-tested weight groups of heifers. 279 head of the 4-weight heifers average 459 at $311.17, and 305 head 5-weight heifers, 555 pounds on the average there, $276.50 weighted average price. Few individual quotes from all around. How about Napoleon, North Dakota? Napoleon Livestock, they sell 60 head of little fancy steer calves, weighed 440 at $385. That's about as high as we've seen them. How about over in South Dakota, Mitchell Livestock Marketing in Mitchell, South Dakota there. They sell those big warmed up feeder cattle there. It doesn't take a lot of time to go on them. These have been pretty heavily backgrounded, but they weren't finished out, and they've got farmer feeders around there that buy them to finish them out there. But they sold 2 loads of steers, weighed 1,100 pounds. Oh my gosh. And bring $224.60 or just at $2,470 a head. Mitchell Livestock Marketing. I thought that was awful good. But the most impressive quote that I heard of anywhere on Thursday in your Macrocin No BS top quote from the day come from Jason Allen and them at Lamoni, Iowa. Lamoni Livestock there. They sold 99 steers, weighed 773, bring $280. And that's your feeder flash for Friday.